Well, hello everybody and welcome back. A couple videos ago, I did some rock hounding in this very creek. And it got me thinking, a lot of the rocks that I found were really dirty, like so dirty that I couldn't even tell what they were. So that gave me an idea. I wanted to come back to this creek, get some of those super dirty rocks, and test out the best ways to clean them. And I figured, what better rocks could I use than ones in this creek? So we're gonna find some super dirty rocks and see what is the best method to clean rocks. Now, one of the best places that I got rocks was in this culvert. Hello! So let's find some rocks in here to add to our pack. Oh yeah, you can't even tell what those things are, can you? So these ones are kind of small, but I'm gonna grab some bigger ones from in here and add them to our collection so that we can see what are these cool things. Okay, I got some rocks. I'm gonna go back for some more, and then I'll meet you back at my house. Okay, we're back. Let's take a look at what we got. Now, did I get more rocks than I truly need? Probably. But that just means we're gonna have lots of cool ones to go through. So we're gonna be comparing how the cleaning between the vinegar water soap solution and the citric acid is going to work for cleaning these rocks. As you can tell, these are really dirty, so I might just rinse them off with some water first, maybe put some water in here and kind of swirl it around a little bit, just to kind of get off the big pieces of dirt, so that both methods have a better chance of not just getting off the surface dirt that is easy to come off, and works kind of more on that deeper dirt that is a lot more difficult to get off by hand. Okay, I have a bucket that I'm going to be putting some of these rocks in because I'm not going to be doing the whole thing with all of the rocks because that's just too many rocks. Ugh, these are so dirty. So we'll get some of these and transfer them back and forth until we get, I don't know, a decent amount. I also got some hot water, very hot water, that we'll use to just kind of get off some of those bigger chunks of dirt. Okay, so we got these kind of cleaned off a little bit. You can still see the super muckiness in the bottom down there, but I kind of just wanted to rinse off the big pieces of dirt anyways. So we got that. We also have not one, but two glass jars. So I'm going to be using one that'll label the citric acid and then one that will be the vinegar water dish soap method. Okay, we are going to do the vinegar dish soap first. And I have a video on how exactly to do the vinegar dish soap linked right here. But a brief rundown is you do half of the jar with water, half of the jar with vinegar, and then you add, I don't know, just like a good squeeze of dish soap. So let's do this one first. One thing I really like about this method is you get to start seeing it work immediately. So you can already see the bubbles and the suds kind of forming off of some of the different rocks and really tell that it's doing its job. So to do the citric acid method, what you need to do is first, of course, get your rocks into your jar. So we'll get some of those remaining rocks put in here, and then you will add a cup of hot, as hot as you can get it, water. So for every cup of water, you put a tablespoon of citric acid. You can buy citric acid on Amazon. I got a really big bag of it. You can also get it at your grocery store. Another important step with the citric acid method is making sure that when you are done, you neutralize the acid with baking soda. And I actually think that I'm going to do that same thing with our vinegar solution this time, because to neutralize vinegar, you also use baking soda. Because sometimes I do notice that after doing this method, the vinegar method, sometimes the rocks will still smell like vinegar for a while, and it kind of bothers me. So I want to see if maybe adding baking soda at the end for this one will help too. But you do need to make sure to do it for the citric acid. And if you were curious which citric acid I use, I just got this ginormous bag. I didn't realize that it was going to be 5 pounds, but I'm not very good at reading those Amazon labels. But yeah, I got enough for a while. So hopefully the citric acid method works really well. I made a big mess of water all over my counter, so I will have to take care of that later. But one thing I'm already noticing between the vinegar dish soap and the citric acid is the color difference. So you can tell this one's got a very different color than this one. Also, I know the water levels are off, so I think I might add a little bit more of water and a little bit more of vinegar to this one, because it's gonna bother me and drive me nuts if I have it like that the whole time. That's better. So we will let these both sit for about 2 days. I'll be swirling / shaking both of the solutions every few hours or whenever I remember, and then we will see if we can turn some nasty, dirty rocks into something beautiful. Another quick update. I am noticing now in the citric acid, you can really see it starting to bubble up and really start to clean it. So that is really cool. I mean, like, it is working hard in there. Okay. So this one definitely took a while to kind of get those bubbles started, but now I really see it working. So awesome. Also, with the bubbles, I've done this method before, but I've never done the citric acid method before. So I don't know if I leave the jar lid on, if it's going to cause a lot of pressure because of the bubbles, and make my glass jar explode, and that would not be any fun at all. So I'll probably leave the lid off of this, and then whenever I need to do my little swirls and my little shakes, I'll just put it back on and do that. So it has been a couple of days, and we're gonna take a look at our rocks. I've been shaking / swirling them around every few hours, and hopefully they look good. I do kind of have a guess on which one's going to be the best, just based on the water. So I'll show you what they look like. Okay, here they are. So this one, I did notice I would put the lid on the citric acid one to shake it up, but it did kind of build up pressure, so I'd always take the lid off. So as you can see, it did kind of leak. So I did put down this little cloth just so that it wouldn't leak on the table, because it does get kind of sticky, I've noticed. Okay, so now let's compare what the water looks like. This kind of remains murky like this. I haven't shaken them since this morning, since I did go to work. But you can see that this one does settle a lot more. This one does stay pretty cloudy. I can, however, see a bunch of stuff that has been worn away by the citric acid. As compared to this one, you don't really see it quite as much. Now that could be because the citric acid is eating into more of the rocks, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll just have to take a look at how they look. Okay, so I drained these and then rinsed them out a little bit. Now they are back and full with some hot water. I also made a mess, but hey, you know what? Gotta do what you gotta do for science, right? Also, I cleaned these in the citric acid too, and as you can see, it also leaked everywhere, but I'm doing the same thing with these. These are just some rocks that I needed to clean anyway, so I thought I would try this method as well. So I will show you what these look like too. Our next step is to add some baking soda. So sprinkling some baking soda in here. Ah! And I made a mess again. But anyways, sprinkling some in here. You can see this side is already reacting with the vinegar that was left over from the rocks before in the vinegar dish soap method. The citric acid doesn't seem to be reacting too much yet. We'll give them a little shake. I'll also put it into this one. Don't know how much to add. Wow, this is a mess, but we'll figure it out. So, oh, whoa, look at that. That is so interesting. Okay, Anyways, let's give these a little shake and then rinse them back out and check out what our rocks look like. Okay, so I just shook them up a little bit. I'm gonna let them sit. Probably put that rock back under the water, but let them sit just for a little bit to really neutralize that acid, and then we'll check them out. All right, so here we have it. This side is the vinegar dish soap water method. This side is the citric acid method. And one thing to know about when I was washing these rocks is I wasn't able to go outside and use a pressure washer or anything to really like power wash the rocks along with the cleaning methods because it is the middle of winter and that would be freezing. So all I really did was fill up the jars with hot water, shake them around, and dump them out into a 5-gallon bucket that is sitting on my floor. But that isn't probably the best way to clean your rocks thoroughly, but I think it's kind of putting to the test how the methods themselves work instead of relying on pressure washing them or using a lot of water to really get that grit and dirt off. I think doing this way actually might have been helpful for the science. This is the vinegar side, and you can see that, the rocks are still fairly dirty. Kind of getting my hands a little bit dirty here. And, it didn't do an awful job. The rocks that I picked were obviously very, very dirty. One of the reasons I wanted to do this was because it was so difficult to see what all of the rocks were, and I wanted to see if maybe there were any hidden cool ones behind all of the dirt. And at least in this pile, it doesn't seem like there's so many cool ones. They're kind of just plain Jane rocks. But if you look over here, these ones from the citric acid side, I do see like some of this yellow bit, and it's some of these more delicate rocks. You can see it kind of comes off on my finger. It's so delicate like that. They are going to continue to dissolve in the acid just because they are such soft rocks. So that yellow stuff is kind of what's left over from that. However, if you kind of spread them out a little bit, here is the dirt that's remaining on the citric acid rocks. And if we spread these ones out a little bit, here is the dirt that's remaining on the vinegar water baking soda rocks. So all together, I would say honestly that this side of the coin here, the vinegar stuff, really didn't do as good of a job as this side. And if you take a look at them kind of all together, it is hard to compare perfectly because obviously, the rocks are not the same rocks, and this one did have a lot more of the soft rocks, so it is a little bit more difficult to compare them. I'm actually kind of disappointed because this vinegar method was the method that I used originally. You can keep looking at this side and these rocks. I also did notice that some of these rocks do seem to be eaten away on the citric acid side. Like this, I feel like, doesn't that kind of look like it's been eaten away? And if I rub at it, you can really see it coming off. So I'm wondering if kind of the softer rocks are maybe not going to be good rocks to put in citric acid. Softer rocks, you probably don't want to do that because it does seem to be eating away some of the stuff there. But look at this, guys. Now, I don't know. At first when I saw this, I really thought that this might be an agate. So I put light behind it, and it is translucent, which is really interesting. And it also has kind of like that potato skin texture that really makes me think agate. However, you can kind of see the shiny little mica bits in it. So it's really quite interesting. I think I'm gonna take this one and scrub it up with a brush just to get it a little more clean and then really take a closer look at it because I don't know, it's unlike a rock I've seen before. The only other thing it might be is feldspar, kind of that pink feldspar right there, texture look to it. But yeah, I don't know, kind of cool. I think that's a pretty neat find. Also found this little nice shirt, which is kind of cool. These are really fun to tumble, so I'm definitely going to tumble it because it's got a very beautiful black, rich color here. I think this one would be really cool. And this side is kind of unique too. It's got like this white on it that feels like a softer rock. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. So overall, I think I am gonna have to give it to the citric acid. Okay, now these ones are the ones that I just had from before that I needed to be cleaned. And I did them in the citric acid. I don't know, I kind of had a feeling that the citric acid was gonna be better. Not really sure why. Of course, there's the beautiful agate. Oh my gosh, look at this, look at this. I mean, come on, look at that bad boy. That, and it looks pretty clean. This I found in a farmer's field. Pretty cool, good find. You can see some beautiful crystal. Here's a nice little example of carnelian. I actually just did a video that talks about the difference between agates and carnelian. If you're interested, click the link here. But yeah, nice little example of what a carnelian is. And look at this cool little guy. Look how neat this is. Isn't this gorgeous? So this is another agate that I found recently. It's got a druzy quartz pocket in there with agate banding all around it. Ugh, this one is a stunner and it's so cool. I found this one in the farmer's field as well. The same place that I found that other one. This one, here it is. Same place that I found this one, and they're so cool. And then I just cleaned some other ones. Here's a jasper and kind of how this one looks. Still looks kind of dirty. This was just a unique rock that it's got some feldspar in it. Some other random stuff. I don't know, just thought it was cool. Here's another one that I'm wondering if it is an agate. It's got a lot of pitting and I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Here is a little fossil that I found. After doing this test, I don't think it's a good idea to put in delicate items like fossils or softer rocks because as you can see, it is really pitted there. And when I first put it in, it did not look like this. You can also see it's now kind of crumbling, falling apart, you know, even just in my fingers here. So I would probably not recommend putting fossils or soft, delicate rocks into citric acid. But I think for ones that are, you know, a 7 or more on the hardness scale, so things like carnelian, agate, and chalcedony, I think that's a really good way to get them clean because like this one was absolutely filthy and it looks absolutely gorgeous now. So yeah, some of those other ones. The citric acid method worked a lot better than I thought it was going to work, and it's probably going to be the method that I use from now on. If you do end up using the citric acid method, maybe you don't need to leave your rocks in for 3 days like I did, and 2 days would probably be enough, especially for more delicate rocks. And overall, the vinegar method was kind of disappointing. I was expecting it to get a lot more dirt off than it did, so that was kind of an interesting find too. I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you're new here, I'd love it if you subscribe to this channel. I'm getting relatively close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm really excited about it because that has been one of my milestones, and it just seems like it's coming up so quickly. So thank you guys so much for your support, and I've been loving making these videos, so I hope that you guys like them too. If you did like this video and you want to give it a thumbs up, that would be great. And in the comments, let me know, are you going to try the citric acid method? And if you have, do you like it? I'll see you guys next time. Bye!